1. Introduction. My name is Sophia. I am 53 years old. I am a pottery artist. I make bowls and vases from clay in my small studio. My hands are often dry and dusty, but I love my job very much. It is a quiet and peaceful life. I live with my son, Mike. He is 22 years old. Mike is handsome and kind, but he worries me a lot. Mike always chooses older women to date. This is a problem for me. His last girlfriend was 27. The girlfriend before that was 30. I think about his future all the time. I want him to be safe, and I believe a partner should be close to his own age. I worry that these women will want different things than Mike, and that they might hurt him. Mike does not listen to my worries. He says he loves them. Today, Mike brought a new woman home. We were going to have dinner together. Her name is Lucy. Lucy is 42 years old. This age difference is very big. She is 20 years older than my son. This large gap made me feel very nervous immediately. Lucy is beautiful. She wears nice, expensive clothes. She looked very elegant and confident when she walked into my house. I watched her closely. I tried to be kind, but it was difficult. Lucy wore a bright red dress. I was wearing simple gray clothes. I looked at myself, and then I looked at her. I felt small and old next to her bright presence. I felt like I was invisible. I was just the mother who makes dinner. Lucy was the person everyone looked at. She took the light from the room. I did not like this feeling. I wondered what she wanted from my young son. I felt that I had already lost my son to this woman, and they had only just arrived. 2. The dinner. The dinner was set for 7 o'clock. I cooked simple food, roasted chicken, and many green vegetables. I worked hard on the meal, but when we sat down, I felt sick. I could not eat. Mike, Lucy, and I sat at the wooden kitchen table. The silence between us was loud. Mike looked very happy. He held Lucy's hand above the table for the whole meal. He looked at her with deep love. I watched them and felt my heart drop. Lucy was wearing a bright red dress. The color was strong and happy. I wore a soft gray sweater. I felt dull next to her. I felt like a tired shadow. Mike wanted me to like Lucy. He spoke about her job. "Mom," Mike said with a big smile, "Lucy is a lawyer. She works very hard and she is very smart." I looked at Lucy. I saw her nice clothes and her friendly smile, but I could only think about her age, 42 years old. Mike is only 22. The difference is 20 years. I could not hide my feelings. I just nodded my head once. I did not smile at her. Inside my mind, I felt a strong, hot anger. I thought, this is not right for my son. I thought that Lucy was too old for him. I felt she was too established in her life. Mike is still young. He is just starting his life path. I judged her completely. I did not see her heart or her kindness. I only saw a number. I believed she was making a big mistake with my son. I worried that she was using him for something. I felt she was taking him away from me. The dinner felt very long. I cut the chicken into small, perfect squares on my plate. I moved the food around, but I did not eat. Mike tried to ask me about my pottery studio, but I answered him quickly. I did not want to talk. Lucy looked nervous when I did not speak. She tried to make conversation, asking me about my favorite music. I told her I did not have one. I was cold. I sat there, full of silent anger. I felt the tension rising around the table like hot air. Mike sensed the tension, too. He squeezed Lucy's hand tighter. He tried to ignore my bad mood. But I could not change my feelings. I wanted to protect him from what I saw as a dangerous relationship. I wanted to shout, but I kept the words locked inside my mouth. I kept thinking, she is stealing him. She is stealing my son. This thought made the food taste like dust. I finished my water quickly. I hoped that if I looked very unhappy, Mike would see the problem and send her home. But he did not see the problem. He only saw Lucy. The dinner ended quickly after that. It was not a happy night. The tension stayed in the house even after Lucy said goodbye and left with Mike. 3. The ring. The next day was a nightmare. I was in my pottery studio behind the house. I was working on a large clay pot. I loved the feel of the wet clay in my hands. It was quiet. I needed the quiet after the difficult dinner the night before. I tried to forget the tension and my anger. I was happy to be alone with my art. I thought I could finish the pot before lunch. Suddenly, the studio door opened hard. Mike ran in. He was smiling very big. Lucy was right behind him. They both looked very excited and happy. Mike pulled Lucy closer to the work table where I stood. He was beaming. "Mom, look!" Mike shouted. His voice was full of joy. Lucy held up her left hand. A diamond ring was on her finger. It was big and very shiny. "We are engaged," Mike shouted again. His eyes were wide with happiness. I dropped the tool I was holding. It hit the floor with a loud sound. My heart stopped beating for a moment. I could not believe what I heard. "Engaged?" I whispered. My voice was very small. I looked at the ring. I looked at Lucy. Then I looked at my son. I stood up quickly. My shock turned into a hot, terrible anger. I felt red in my face. "Engaged? After only 2 months?" I shouted. I looked directly at Lucy. "Mike, she is 42 years old. You have only known her for 60 days. I did not care if I hurt them. I felt that I had to save my son from a big mistake." Lucy looked down at the floor. Her happy smile was gone. Mike's face turned bright red. He looked angry, but also deeply hurt. "Mom, stop it." He said loudly, "You do not understand love. You only see a number." His words made my anger worse. I felt that he was choosing her side against me. "I understand that she is too old to start a life with you," I yelled back. "You will be 50 when she is 70. This is not fair to you." I was cruel. I saw the deep hurt in Lucy's eyes. I saw the disappointment in Mike's eyes. I realized I was destroying the moment, but I could not stop the words. The sadness and anger were too much for me. I needed to leave. I needed to escape the small room and the fight. I quickly took off my dirty pottery apron. I threw it onto the clay table. I did not look at them again. I walked fast out of the studio, through the house, and out the front door. I got into my car and drove away quickly. For the club, Sophia drove quickly to the city. She needed to escape the house and the terrible fight. She found a small jazz club she knew. It was dark, smelled of old wood, and felt safe. She sat alone at the long bar. She ordered one large glass of red wine. She felt foolish and very old after shouting at her son. A man sat next to her. He seemed kind and calm. His name was Arthur. He was about 48 years old and worked as an architect. Sophia suddenly needed to talk. "My son is making a very big mistake," she told Arthur in a low voice. "He is only 22. He wants to marry a woman who is 42. Arthur listened carefully to her long story. He did not say that she was right or wrong. He did not try to flirt with her. He spoke like a wise and thoughtful friend. Sophia told him about the new diamond ring and her terrible, cruel reaction. Arthur then spoke gently. "You only see the difference in their ages," he said. "The 20 years between them." He looked directly into Sophia's eyes. "But think about your son, Mike. Does Mike feel that you truly see him, or does he only feel judged by his mother?" This question was very difficult for Sophia to answer. Arthur suggested that Mike might choose older women because they listen well. Perhaps they see his true self and his feelings. Sophia realized she had only looked at the numbers. She had missed seeing her son's heart. She had been too focused on her own fear of losing him. Arthur gave her strong advice. "If you continue to fight this relationship, you will definitely push your son away," he warned her. His words hit Sophia very hard. She realized that her anger was the biggest problem. She needed to change her perspective immediately. She finished her wine. Arthur's wise words were the turning point. She knew she had to go home and stop being the judge. 5, the drive home. Sophia sat in her car for a long time. She did not move. She thought about Arthur's words. They were simple, but they were true. She had felt invisible at the dinner table. She hated that feeling. But she realized she was making Mike feel unseen too. She was looking at a number, not her son. She was scared to lose him, but her anger was pushing him away quickly. This idea hurt her more than Lucy's age. She realized she was being a hypocrite. She wanted others to see her, but she refused to truly see her son. She had treated Mike as if his feelings were not important. She had shouted cruel words that afternoon. She had pushed him away when he needed her support. This was a painful thought to hold. She started the car. The drive home was slow and quiet. The night air was cool outside the windows. She felt very heavy. Her heart was full of regret. She had caused much pain today with her loud words. She needed to make things right. She thought about Mike, her only child. She loved him deeply. But love was not enough if she only acted like a judge. She needed to trust him. She needed to support his life, even if his choices were difficult for her to accept. She turned the corner onto her street. The house was dark. The living room light was off. Sophia stopped the car in the driveway. She saw a shape on the porch. It was Mike. He was sitting on the steps alone in the dark. He looked small and sad. He looked like the little boy she used to hold. He was not the happy, excited fiancé from the afternoon. He looked lonely. Sophia turned off the engine. She took a deep breath. She made a decision right there. She would stop fighting. She would stop judging Lucy. She would stop being angry about the age gap of 20 years. Arthur's advice was clear. Be a mother, not a judge. She opened the car door. She knew she had to apologize sincerely. She had to show Mike that his happiness was the most important thing to her. She walked slowly toward the porch steps. She walked toward her son. She decided that she would finally see him. She would see his heart and his love, not just his choices. She would be his friend. This was the only way to keep him close. She needed to be the mother he needed now. 6. I am sorry. I walked outside. Mike was still sitting alone on the porch steps. The night air was cool and it smelled like cut grass. I sat down on the cold stone next to him. I did not speak right away. I watched the dark trees moving in the wind. I knew I had to fix the big mistake I made yesterday. I turned my head to face him. Mike, I said softly, I am truly sorry. He looked at me quickly. His face showed surprise and then hope. I was wrong to shout. I was wrong to say cruel things about Lucy's age. I let my fear speak instead of my heart. I told him that his happiness was the most important thing in my life. Mike let out a long, slow breath. I could see the worry leaving his body. He leaned over and gave me a strong hug. "Thank you, Mom," he whispered into my shoulder. "I thought I lost you." He pulled back and looked at me seriously. He explained why he loved Lucy. "She sees the real me," he said. "She listens to my dreams and she supports them. She does not try to tell me what to do." He explained that Lucy made him feel safe and strong. I realized that my son needed a partner who respected him, and Lucy did that. I promised him I would stop judging. I promised to try to see Lucy through his eyes. The next morning, I called Lucy. I asked her to come back to the house. When she arrived, I walked up to her immediately. I gave her a hug. "Welcome to the family," I said sincerely. "I am happy for you both." Lucy looked relieved and her eyes were wet. The tension disappeared instantly. We sat together and talked about their future. I finally saw that Lucy was a kind and smart woman. I gave them my full blessing. We started planning the wedding right away. Lucy and I looked at pictures of flowers. We talked about food and music. We spent 3 weeks together in happiness. I felt closer to Mike than I had in many years. I was finally the supportive mother I wanted to be. I was celebrating their love instead of fighting it. It was a hopeful new beginning for us all. 7 bad news. For 3 full weeks, everything was wonderful. Mike and Lucy spent every evening together. They planned their future. I helped Lucy choose the wedding flowers. We looked at pictures of white roses and bright yellow tulips on my computer. We laughed often. I felt happy for my son, and I realized I had been wrong to judge Lucy. I started to think of her as part of our family. I thought the difficult time was over. Then, things changed very quickly. One evening, I was in my studio. I was finishing a large clay pot that needed to dry. The door opened slowly. Mike walked in. He was not smiling at all. His face looked very pale. He did not look like the happy man I had seen for the past 21 days. "Mike, what is wrong?" I asked him quickly. He walked slowly and sat down heavily on the wooden stool next to my workbench. He looked at the floor, unable to meet my eyes. He looked ill. "It is over, Mom," he said quietly. His voice was low and sad. I stopped working immediately. I dropped the cloth I was holding onto the dusty floor. "Over? What do you mean, Mike?" I asked. I felt a sudden, cold feeling in my stomach. I did not feel the satisfaction of being right. I only felt deep worry for my son. Mike put his head in his hands. He looked like a small boy again. He was suffering greatly. "Lucy ended it," he explained. "She said we want very different things in life right now." I waited for him to speak more. I knew I needed to listen and not talk. "She is a successful lawyer. She has a big career and a settled life," Mike continued. "She wants to start a family soon. I am only 22 years old. I am still starting everything in my life. She said the love between us is real, but the time is wrong for us to be together." I looked at my son. His heart was completely broken. I wanted badly to tell him, "I told you this would happen because of the age gap." But I did not say those words. I knew those words would only push him away again. I walked over to him and put my hand firmly on his shoulder. It was hard to see him in so much pain. I realized that age was not the biggest problem now. Heartbreak was the problem. I could only stand there next to him. I knew I could not fix this terrible situation. I could only be his mother now. 8, a good mother. Mike was very sad. He sat on the stool and looked down at the floor. I did not say the words, "I told you so." I knew those words would only make his pain worse. My son did not need me to judge him now. He only needed his mother to be kind. I wanted to help him feel better. I held Mike close to me for a long moment. Even though he was 22 years old, he felt like a small boy who needed comfort. I stood up and went to the kitchen. I put water in the large kettle to make hot tea. Mike followed me slowly from the studio. We sat down at the small wooden kitchen table. The air was quiet, but it was a comfortable quiet. We were together in this hard moment. "This is very difficult," I said softly. Mike nodded his head slowly. His eyes looked tired, and they were red from crying. "I am truly sorry that you must feel this much pain." I did not talk about Lucy or the wedding plans that we had made. I only focused on his feelings. I wanted him to know that I understood his hurt and his disappointment. "At least you tried to find happiness," I told him gently. "You were brave to love her so fast. You were honest about your feelings, and that is the most important thing." Mike looked up at me. He managed a very small smile. It was a sad smile, but it felt real and honest. "Thank you, Mom," he said. His voice was quiet and low. "Thank you for not being angry at me now. Thank you for not saying cruel things about Lucy. You are being my friend now, and not just a mother who controls everything." Hearing those words made my heart feel very warm inside. It was the most important lesson I had learned in all my years. I finally understood that my job as a good mother was not to control his path or choose his partners. My job was only to walk right beside him, no matter where he chose to go or what mistakes he made. I had wanted to tell him where to walk, but now I knew I must only support his steps and his decisions. I had stopped looking at Lucy's age. I had stopped looking at Mike's quick engagement. I only saw my son who was quietly suffering. Our relationship was now much stronger than it was before the engagement. We had found a new, quiet peace together in the kitchen. I knew that we would be okay. I felt like I was finally the mother he needed.